Welcome to our next episode of our Sports Talk. I'm Max.
I'm Wyeth, and today we're going to be doing sleepers for fantasy football. First, we'll be doing running backs, and my number one sleeper this year is Darius Juice on the Washington Redskins. His only competition for touches in the backfield is Chris Thompson. I think he'll get the bulk of the touches, especially on first and second down and at the goal line. So I think Darius is a strong candidate to be top 10, top 12 this year.
Bold prediction right there.
Yeah.
My number one sleeper this season is Chris Carson on the Seahawks. Reason behind that is Seahawks, based on this training camp this year, they've been leaning towards Carson over the rookie Rashawn Penny. Yes, I do think Rashawn Penny will get a little bit of attention, but I think Chris Carson will get the majority of the work, majority of the carries, and playing time. And for that reason, I say Chris Carson's my top sleeper.
He's the only running back on the Colts that has experience, and they're not going to be absolutely horrible last year like they were without Andrew Luck. They're going to be a lot better with Luck, pass game a lot, and Mac, being the number one running back of the team, is going to get a lot more opportunities. So I think he's a strong candidate to be maybe top 15 this year.
Oh, I'm going to say top 10 for Mac. I like Marlon Mack. Last year I even had him in some of my leagues for fantasy. Not starter, just on the bench in case Frank Gore were to get hurt or in case Mac were to take over. And it wasn't worth it. However, this season I feel like Mac is going to be worth a draft pick. My next sleeper is Jay Ajayi. Yes, some people may not consider him a sleeper, but I do because I feel like he's not ranked as high as he could be. I feel like he's looked down on. The reason I have him high is, yes, he has Darren Sproles and Corey Clement as his competitors for that running back spot. No, he does not have Blunt anymore, which helps him a little bit. But also because I feel like Eagles are kind of set in their offense. They're all around talented, from passing to rushing, all around. So I feel like Jay Ajayi will have another good year as he did on the Marlins. When was it that he had his breakout year? A couple years ago. Last season he didn't have as strong of a season, but the year before that he was one of the best running backs towards the end of the season. And I feel like he'll work off of 2 years ago when he was at that high level.
All right, so the last running back sleeper I have is Deonta Foreman. He is currently injured right now, but he's expected to be ready for the season. And I know the Texans are very fed up with Lamar and how he's played in the 2 years he's been on the Texans. He's gotten worse as he's gone on. He now averages less than 4 yards a carry now, and I think the Texans they're ready to move on from Lamar, and they're going to want to unleash Deonta Foreman, and that's what I think they'll do this year. I think Deonta Foreman will be top 20 this year.
And I agree with that about how Deshaun Watson is going to have a breakout season this year. And with them being such a high-scoring team, I feel like they will run the ball a lot too, which will get Deonta Foreman plenty of touches. For my first receiver sleeper, I have Paul Richardson on the Washington Redskins. Now, if you look at his co-receivers on the team, he has Jamison Crowder and Josh Doctson. And yes, Crowder has potential to be number one receiver on that team, but I feel like Paul Richardson could have been a top receiver on the Seahawks had they given him the chance. He has some of the best hands in the game, kind of mirrors Odell Beckham a little bit with those hands, making those diving catches, one-handed grabs, and I feel like with his speed too, he can be one of the top receivers in the league given the chance, with Alex Smith's arm too, throwing deep balls.
Yeah, I think another wide receiver sleeper is DJ Moore. DJ Moore was a first-round pick by the Panthers. He does have some competition with Devin Funchess for the number one spot, but being a first-round pick, the Panthers are going to want to unleash him, and I think he's had a good connection with Cam Newton camp. He's made some great catches, and I think he's a strong candidate to be top 20 this year.
All right, next I'll talk about Marquise Goodwin on the 49ers. Last season, when he started doing pretty well on his team, that was when Pierre Garçon was injured. So I think Pierre Garçon will come back and be the number one receiver, but I still feel like Marquise Goodwin will be that number two. Like, that'll be one of the top duos in the NFL this season. I'm going to say top 7 duos for receiving core. And I feel like Marquise Goodwin will catch a lot of deep balls and score plus 8 touchdowns this season.
Okay. Another sleeper receiver I have is Nelson Aguilar. He's now the number 2 receiver on the team now that Jordan Matthews is gone, and he had a great season last year. He exceeded expectations. A lot of people thought he was a bust, but no. He got 8 touchdowns last year as the number 3 receiver on the team. And I think he'll only build off that, and I think he has a good chance to be top 20 this year.
Yeah. Now, based on what Wyeth was saying about Nelson Aguilar, Alshon Jeffrey is the number 1 receiver on the team. However, he was placed on the PUP list Thursday, July 26th, and he may not be ready for the beginning of the season because as of now the Eagles have placed no timetable for his return, meaning that Nelson Aguilar is looking like the number 1 receiver on the team, and if Wentz gets healthy pretty quick, that'll be a great duo for the start of the season.
And it says on here that he could be out for 6 months, so that would be the majority of the season. So Aguilar could be the number 1 receiver for the whole entire season.
Which could mean he's a top 15, maybe even top 10 receiver this season. Another sleeper I have, more like a make or break player this season, is Kenny Golladay on the Lions. Yes, he does have Marvin Jones and Golden Tate ahead of him on the roster. So based on last year, I feel like Kenny Golladay did show some flashes of success and showing that he has potential for a bright future on this team. He can make great catches. He's a big guy, so he can make those reaching over catches, stuff like that. And I feel like that'll propel him to be potentially a top receiver this season, maybe top 25 receiver this season, if the Lions give him a chance.
All right, the last wide receiver sleeper I have is Corey Davis on the Tennessee Titans. The number 1 receiver on the team, and he showed some great flashes last year. He's very athletic. He's tall. Titans are going to unleash him this year, and I think he's going to have 1,000 yards, and I think he has a good chance to be top 15, maybe even top 10 if Mariota decides to throw the ball good.
Now, Wyatt did say that he's the number 1 receiver this season. That is, so Rashard Matthews was placed on the PUP list, so he can't partake in any training camp. So Tajay Sharp, Tyrwan Taylor, and Michael Campanaro have been taking the second role alongside Corey Davis. So Corey Davis has already had that set spot for him at the receiving corps on the first team offense. And I feel like based on what Wyatt was saying and based on those, that Corey Davis will be a top receiver this year. I'm going to go with top 15.
And as for QB sleepers, there are not that many QB sleepers this year. All I really have on my list is Case Keenum. He had an exceptional season for the Vikings last year, and a lot of people, and he's getting ranked very lowly this year. But he actually has a great receiving core and a decent O-line in the Denver Broncos. He has Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, which are 2 very good receivers, and I think he could be a sleeper, potential top 15.
Yeah, and going along with that, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders haven't been as fantasy productive the past 1 or 2 seasons because they haven't had a good quarterback, consistent quarterback. They've been throwing around quarterbacks, and now that they have a quarterback that they know can be consistent based on his stats last year as a Viking, they will get a lot more attention, and they will also be higher ranked receivers due to a better quarterback.
One sleeper I forgot to mention earlier was Royce Freeman of the Denver Broncos. He was taken in the 3rd round, 71st overall, and he is currently listed as the number 2 running back on the team right now, but I don't think that's any cause for concern because the starting running back is Devontae Booker, and he has had years to wow us, and none of us are wowed, and he's averaged less than 4 yards a carry. I think he's averaged about 3.5 yards per carry on his career, and unless Devontae Booker can do something to wow us, which I'm pretty certain that he won't, Royce Freeman will take over as the starter this year, and he doesn't have any other competition once he gets past Booker, and that'll be smooth sailing for Freeman from there, and I think he has great potential to be top 15, and I think even maybe top 10. I definitely could see 1,000-yard season on the horizon for him. He's definitely a major sleeper this year, and I think people are taking Freeman way too late in drafts this year. Thanks for watching.